It's been almost 1 year with the Samsung Galaxy S9 and the S9 Plus, so I want to talk about how well these have held up over time since the Galaxy S10 is right around the corner, and I feel like the value has changed tremendously on these phones, especially the smaller Galaxy S9. You could almost pick this thing up at half the price on eBay, so you're looking at mid-range territory here. So if you pick one of these phones up in 2019, what can you expect? A year in the smartphone industry is a lot. We've seen bezel-less phones with motorized front-facing cameras, slide mechanisms, and even completely portless phones, but the Galaxy S9 and the S9 Plus have aged really well because, let's not forget, Samsung is the OG of fighting against the notch, and even though there's a small chin and a top bezel, I think this still looks great. The Quad HD display is still one of the best in the industry. The Super AMOLED display is sharp, it's colorful and bright. But one complaint I have about these curved screens is the glass. The curve does look pretty cool and it does feel good in your hands, but this curved area on the front and back can get scratched pretty easily because a lot of times what I do is I don't use cases on my phone. Sometimes I'll put a skin on the back of it like this one, but a lot of times I like to use it without protection because that's the only way that you can really test the durability of a phone. So I end up doing this a lot, putting it on the table, or even with the screen down, a lot of times just by habit, I end up doing it like that. So you will get some scratches here on the front. So if you don't want scratches, please get yourself a glass screen protector. Glass is fragile, there's not much you can do about that. Another thing about the curved screen that I don't like is the distortion that I get when I'm watching content. So if I'm watching it at an angle, I can actually see a green hue or a color change during the corner. So this is not obviously limited to the Samsung Galaxy S9 or other Samsung products. It's just that's something I don't like. And when you get thin bezels, you end up triggering things sometimes, like when I'm watching content on Hulu, and of course Hulu has the scrubbing mechanism, but sometimes I trigger that scrubbing while I'm holding it in my hands. And I don't think I'm the only one that does this. So I do like bezel-less, but sometimes it's kind of a pain in the butt. Hopefully we'll see some improvements there on the S10, but overall the hardware has been very solid. It feels good. Some people don't like the Bixby button, but what's good is you can disable that. So now I don't trigger it every single time. So thank goodness. It's been a fight back and forth, but you can disable that key, which is great. So what you will get if you pick one of these up this year is that you still get the headphone jack, which is pretty much a unicorn in the smartphone industry right now. And it looks like the S10 is actually going to hold on to that. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Samsung. You also get a USB-C port with fast charging. You get dual speakers to go along with that AMOLED display. You also have a glass back, so you get fast wireless charging. You have IP68 water resistance, fingerprint scanner on the back. You also get a retina scanner on the front. So even though that the S10 is going to have more features, I feel like all the flagship features that most people care about are still in the S9 and S9 Plus. Both of these phones still have plenty of power with the Snapdragon 845. I can't say it's been a lag-free experience, but as a whole, it's been pretty snappy over time. I do have to say that the S9 is the more laggy device, in my opinion, from what I've been using. I do get more stutters on this device, and that could be because of the 4 GB of RAM compared to the 6 GB that's on the S9 Plus. And I hope they eliminate that this year because I don't like how they cripple the smaller model, because not everybody wants this big gigantor phone. And I feel like that this model actually in the hand, I really like the way it feels better. And you still get a big enough display, but I just feel like that it fits better in the hand, and I love this form factor. To be fair, I am not running One UI and I don't have Android Pie on either of these devices. A lot of people have already had that pushed out. There's a lot of performance increases and the UI looks a lot better and cleaner to me. So that could bring better performance to the S9 with only 4 GB of RAM. I'm not sure, but that's the one thing that I do want to talk about with these Samsung phones is that Samsung has done a great job of pushing out software updates throughout its 1-year life cycle. Both of these phones now are on the December patch, but most people are already on the January security patch here. So other manufacturers like LG especially, they are not current on the security patches and there's not a lot of software updates. So for a bigger manufacturer, Samsung has done a pretty good job of pushing out software updates. And if you're running Pi and One UI now, you're gonna get pretty much the same experience that you're probably gonna get on the Galaxy S10. So while the overall experience is good, I do want to talk about some of the disappointments that I have with both of these phones. And one of them is battery life, especially with the Galaxy S9. It has a 3000 mAh battery, but I cannot make it through a full day on this phone. If you're a super light user, you may be able to make it through a full day. And even though you do have wireless charging and fast charging, I feel like I could never make it through a day on this on normal usage. So that's my disappointment with the S9. And with the S9 Plus, even though it does have a bigger battery, I feel like other phones in this class have better battery life. So hopefully One UI did fix a little bit of battery life stuff, but that's probably the big disappointment here with these two phones. And also the front facing camera on these phones are not very good. And I think that's a Samsung trait overall. Hopefully, even with the Note 9, the front facing camera really could use some work here. So hopefully I see improvement on that on the S10. The one thing that you don't want to be disappointed in when you pick up a phone this year is camera quality, and I still feel that the S9 and S9 Plus produce some incredible images. Even the single lens Galaxy S9 produces awesome dynamic range. It's got great sharpness, nice colors. You're also going to get some good depth of field as well. So when it comes to video, you're also going to get awesome 4K. The 4K 60 is really handy, and I can attest to this. I've made full videos on both of these, and you won't believe how good the video is off of these cameras. So if you produce a lot of stuff, or if you take a lot of video, these definitely will not disappoint. But remember, if you want to do portrait mode or live focus, you're going to have to pick up the S9 Plus with the dual lenses. The S9 regular cannot do that. So they both do have dual aperture mode for low light photography. It goes down to f1.5, and it does let a lot more light in. But I want to see some more improvement this year on this. I want to see better balance of the photos. I feel like even though it lets a lot more light in, I feel like the image is softer, and basically the exposure and the balance and the whole entire processing of these photos could be a little bit better. So that's one of the things that you might miss out on if you don't pick up the S10. And you're probably going to miss out on a few extra lenses with the S10 series. But if you don't care about that stuff, then I would still look into these. Of course, the Galaxy S10 is going to be bigger, badder, it's going to be faster, it's going to have a lot of cutting edge features. But for the budget conscious, I feel like this is the best time to pick up the last year model, because you have to think, it still has a lot of the flagship features that most people care about. It's still got a good camera, it's still got a great display, you're still getting wireless charging, water resistance, all of that stuff that people care about are still in these phones right here. So while these phones came out at top price, now they're selling for much less, and you're pretty much in the mid-range category when you're picking up this phone. So this is something that I want to know from you guys. Number one, if you have a Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus, let me know how your experience has been. Is it similar to mine? Is it worse? Is it better? And second thing, if this is in mid-range territory now, would you rather pick up something like a Galaxy S9, or would you want to spend just a tad bit more and get something like a OnePlus 6T? So let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus still. I'll be heading to the Galaxy S10 launch, so there's going to be a ton of content on this channel. Hit that subscribe, also hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss the S10 coverage, and I will see you guys in the next one.